If you want the single number that explains why 2026 feels like the year everything changes, $650 billion. That's the scale of AI infrastructure investment Bridgewater expects from the biggest U.S. tech players this year.
And when you spend at that scale, you don't do it for a demo. You do it because you believe the workload is real: training, inference, agents, robotics control loops, and you're racing to own the pipes.
But here's the twist. The faster the pipes get built, the more the conversation becomes less, can we build it? And more, can we govern it, deploy it, and survive the workforce impact? Let's unpack that $650 billion number. Reuters reports, Bridgewater expects Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft to collectively invest about $650 billion in AI infrastructure in 2026, up from about $410 billion in 2025. That is not incremental. That's an arms race.
Right. And it's not just more GPUs. When budgets jump like that, you're talking data centers, networking, power, storage, model-serving stacks, and the software layer to orchestrate thousands of concurrent inference calls. The point is reliability at enterprise scale.
And if you're a normal company watching this, the question isn't, should I buy GPUs? It's, how do I ride this wave without getting crushed by it? Because when hyperscalers build capacity, prices drop, tools get packaged, and suddenly automation becomes cheaper than headcount.
And the other side is the startup ecosystem. New Market Pitch did a funding analysis of AI infrastructure rounds through April 2026, and the takeaway is the market is being shaped by mega rounds. So you have big tech building the base layer, and a swarm of startups building orchestration, supercloud layers, and verticalized compute services.
Which means the bottleneck shifts. When compute is abundant, the bottleneck becomes governance, data access, and integration. And that's where the next stories connect. Agents in business, compliance and regulation, embodied AI and robots, and even drug discovery and longevity.
Let's talk agents. TechCrunch covered OpenAI's launch of Frontier, an end-to-end platform for enterprises to build and manage AI agents. What's interesting is the HR metaphor: onboarding, access limits, and feedback loops, like performance reviews, so companies can treat agents like employees.
That framing is doing a lot of work. It's saying, these systems aren't just chatbots. They're delegated operators. And if they're operators, you need controls. Who can they email? What databases can they query? What actions can they execute?
Exactly. Frontier is pitched as open, meaning you can manage agents built outside OpenAI too, so the control plane matters as much as the model. And TechCrunch notes early customers like HP, Oracle, State Farm, and Uber, but availability was limited and pricing wasn't disclosed.
Now, layer on the broader enterprise mood. There's a fifth-row analysis arguing April 2026 was a tipping point for agentic AI moving from isolated pilots into production pipelines. I treat those numbers carefully because it's a commentary piece, but the direction is consistent. Almost everyone is testing, fewer are scaling.
And scaling fails for predictable reasons: lack of clean data, unclear KPIs, and governance. Companies get a quick win, like auto-generating reports, and then the second you let agents touch systems of record, you hit security, compliance, and change management.
Here's the practical playbook. Pick one end-to-end workflow, define success metrics, cycle time, error rate, cost per case, then build guardrails, approvals, audit logs, and a kill switch. Treat it like you're deploying a junior analyst with superpowers but zero common sense. If you're deploying agents, the next question is, what happens when regulators show up? Two stories matter here. One very local, one very global.
Local first. GovTech reports, Connecticut's Judiciary Committee approved a bill targeting deceptive synthetic media, AI deepfakes in election campaigns, within 90 days of an election or primary. It includes potential criminal penalties and civil recourse, and it's part of a wave of state-level synthetic media rules.
The business takeaway is simple. If your company touches political ads, media, content moderation, or identity verification, synthetic media compliance is now a product requirement. You need provenance, disclosure, and policies, not just model capability.
Global story. The European Parliament. Think tank published a brief on enforcement of the EU AI Act, emphasizing a hybrid model, member states plus the European Commission, with support bodies like the European AI Board and scientific advisory groups. In practice, companies should expect multi-actor enforcement and evolving guidance.
And that hybrid model matters because it means you could face different interpretations across countries, plus EU-level coordination. If you're selling AI products into Europe, you don't wait for the last minute. You build compliance into your product lifecycle.
This is why governance toolkits are becoming a category. Even if your model is great, enterprise buyers increasingly require proof: documentation, risk assessments, access controls, logging, and human oversight, especially as agents start taking actions.
Let's connect two worlds people usually keep separate: humanoid robots and longevity biotech. They're both examples of software turning into physical outcomes.
On robotics, New Market Pitch's robotics funding news points to continued investor appetite, and the narrative is shifting toward real deployments, not just prototypes. And RoboZap's weekly roundup highlights BMW's plans to bring humanoid robots into production contexts, this idea of physical AI entering real factories.
That matters because the ROI case is different when a robot can do a task in the real world. If a humanoid can cover multiple stations, material handling, inspection, assembly assistance, you stop buying single-purpose automation and start buying generalized labor.
But the hard part is reliability and safety. Robots run on perception and control loops. That loops back to compute availability and edge inference. The more capable models get, and the cheaper inference becomes, the more feasible these deployments look.
Now, longevity. MedCity News lays out a staggering stat. As of early 2026, more than 173 AI-discovered programs are in clinical development, with dozens in Phase 1 and Phase 2, and 15 to 20 expected to enter pivotal trials in 2026.
They also cite Eli Lilly's 2.75B commitment to in silico medicine, and the claim that in silico's target to Phase I timeline can be under 30 months versus traditional 4 to 6 years. Even if you discount the marketing a bit, the direction is clear: faster iteration, more candidates.
And that creates a bottleneck in healthcare delivery. More therapies times more data per therapy times the same clinical hours equals something breaks. Clinics need unified patient data and decision support, or they'll drown.
Exactly. The article argues a single patient analysis can take 5 to 10 hours today. If you suddenly have more senolytics, metabolic drugs, immune modulators, plus wearables and labs, manual synthesis doesn't scale. So healthcare becomes an enterprise AI problem: workflows, audit trails, oversight.
Rapid Fire 1. If 600 dBm is the spend, then power, grid capacity, and energy price volatility become hidden AI constraints.
Rapid Fire 2. The EU AI Act hybrid enforcement model means compliance is not a checkbox. It's an ongoing operating capability.
Rapid Fire 3. The longevity field's pivot beyond NAD+ toward precision interventions means the next decade is about biomarkers and trial design, not hype. That's the breakdown for today. The stories are moving fast, but the playbook for staying ahead doesn't change.
If any of this hit close to home for your industry or your role, the newsletter goes deeper every week. Link in the description.
We're Marcus Reed and Sarah Chen. This is your AI future. Subscribe if you want to keep up, and we'll see you tomorrow.